So you'll start by taking 4 straws with heads, and you want the stems to be about 7 inches long, then just tie them off with a piece of white thread. Then you're going to take 4 more straws without heads, and you're just going to tie those off at the same place you tied off the ones with heads, right on the outside of those. Then you're just going to pull down those 4 so that they lay perpendicular to the other straws. Take one of the straws and bend it over the 2 next to it. Then take the straw you just bent over and bend it over the next 2. Then take the second one you crossed over and bend it over the next 2. And you're just going to keep going around like that, bending each one over the 2 in front of it, and it's going to make a little bit of a spiral design. You'll just wind those right around the 4 straws you have in the center. When your spiral is about 4 inches long, you're just going to fold all the straws up and tie off the ends with a piece of white thread. And just trim the edges. You want to make 2 of those. Lay one on top of the other and tie them in the center with a piece of white thread. Next, tie together 5 straws without heads. You're going to spread them out so that you have 2 on the left and 3 on the right. Pick up the middle straw on the right, bend the outside one over the remaining straw, and bend the middle one back down. Then do the same thing on the left. Pick up the middle straw, take the outside one, cross it over the remaining straw, and bend the middle straw back down. And repeat that on the right again. So you're just going to keep going along like that, picking up the middle straw and bending the outside straw over the other one. And as you weave, you'll start to get a little bit of a ribbon. So when your ribbon is 6 or 7 inches long, just fold the straws together and tie them off with a piece of white thread. Trim off the edges, and you want to make 2 of those. Next, take 25 thick straws, and you just want to tie them off about 2 inches below one end. Make sure all the straws are even. Just tie them off very tightly. Then you're just going to very carefully fold the straws down over the thread you just tied. When you've got them all folded down, just tie them off about 2 inches below the top bend. Then separate the straws evenly and slide the little arms right up between them, up as high as they'll go, and then just tie off the body part and trim off the bottom stems. So then go back to your ribbons, and you're just going to bend those one over each shoulder and tie off the bottoms with a piece of white thread. So then flip the angel upside down, and then take 20 to 30 long straws with heads, separate them approximately in half, put half on the front side of the angel and half on the back. Just kind of evenly space them around her. And then you're just going to tie it off where the bottom of the body would be, right where you tied off the bottom of the ribbons. Once you've got those tied off, just very carefully fold each one down. You can do that on both sides of the angel. And that's going to be her skirt. Next, tie together 2 straws with heads just below the heads, and then spread them out. And you're just going to go along and fold one straw right over the other, and you're going to keep alternating them, folding each one right over the other. You want to make sure that they're not quite at a right angle, just under a right angle. And that's going to make kind of a cool little triangular shaped design in the weaving. So when the weaving is about 5 inches long, you're just going to take it and wrap it around the angel, then tie it off like a belt. And that's also going to help hold the skirt flat. Next, tie together 5 straws below the heads and spread out the straws so that they all lay horizontally. Then you're just going to take one of the straws and fold it into the gap. And then you're going to take the straw next to that and fold it into the gap. You take the straw to the left of that and fold it into the gap. Take the straw to the left of that and fold it into the gap. Now if you spin this weaving around when you're weaving it, then you'll always be taking the left-hand straw. I'm not moving it. I'm not spinning it here, but if you do, it's easier to keep track of the straws. So tie off your straws when your weaving is 4 inches long. Trim off the ends. And then you're just going to run your finger along the weaving to stretch it. This makes it longer and it also changes the look of the weaving, which is what we're going for here. Then you're just going to bend the end of it down and tie it off with a piece of white thread. That's going to be the angel's halo. So finally you'll take 15 thick straws and tie them off in the middle. You want to make sure they're nice and tight so that the straws kind of splay out. You can just adjust them to make them look like angel wings. So then just trim off the edges so they're all about the same length. So then take your angel and set the wings just above the arms. You're going to take a piece of white thread, go around the front of the angel's head, diagonally one way, tie that off, and then wind it around diagonally the other way. And tie that off. You may have to readjust the wings a little bit after tying it. So then finally, you'll just hot glue the halo to the head. So here's the completed angel.